In the CIMA Global Business Challenge, which seeks to encourage business and strategic thinking amongst South Africa's future business leaders, Teen Monomotapa from Wits University were the overall winners. So joining us for more are the members of the Monomotapa team, Panashe Chigumadzi, Simbarashe Nyatsambo, Khetinkosi Dlamini and Sizwe Nxumalo. Panashe, let's start with you. What was this challenge and why were you called the Monomotapa team?
The challenge is for a group of young people, 4 people, to come together and give a set of recommendations to a company based on the issues that they've presented to us. So that's what we had to do. We had to give them a report and then we had to give a presentation based on this report that we've given them. Team Monomotapa, the name comes from Monomotapa, which is the dynasty which ruled over Great Zimbabwe. And the significance for us as a team is that Great Zimbabwe used to be called the Asian ruins of Rhodesia because the idea was that Africans could never actually build have such a civilization. So our idea is that we're an African team and we can compete and win against the best in the world. Now
your competition was around a television production company. So why did you take that, Sizwe, the television production company as a project, or did they give you that and then you had to run with it?
Oh, that was given. So that's a case study that all the teams were presented with. So that's probably the only way that you can judge everyone objectively, by giving them the same problem and seeing the quality of the recommendations that everyone presents.
How did you go about it?
So we started off with a planning phase led by Panashe over here, which was largely about the report writing and gathering what skills people had in terms of compiling this report. Ultimately submitted the report and then were called back literally less than a week after it's submitted, and they said they want us to give a presentation to a panel of judges. And we then we went about working with PowerPoint, getting ready for this presentation, and obviously practiced our public speaking as well in the process.
I hope you didn't spend too much time on the PowerPoint because it can chain you down.
Quite right. We really knuckled down on our recommendations, what was key to, what was implementable for VIP, the company that we're dealing with in this case study, what was implementable and what was feasible. And that was really what the important takeaway in this particular project.
Simbarashe, you beat other universities. Why were you so good?
I think within the team there was the element of questioning everything. I mean, literally everything. So interrogating everything, reviewing it, the research, the peer reviews, that, I think, was the strong elements of the team. Yeah, and I think it was mainly the team members who were actually, quite good.
Sizwe?
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, I think that the other thing that particularly made us stand out is that everyone put on quite a stellar and very polished presentation, but like where a lot of the teams faltered was during the Q&A, where they were actually asked about the actual commercial sensibility of the recommendations they'd made for the company. So we were quite strong in that regard, whereas the other teams, looked pretty and spoke well, but when it came to...
well, you look pretty too.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, like... Yeah.
I just want to say that Sizwe is not... This is a school uniform,
yes,
but it's not a Wits University uniform, and you're wearing your old school uniform from Bracken High because tomorrow's Youth Day.
Yes.
Right, so you are all at university.
All at university.
But these lot, for some reason, didn't bring their uniforms. Panashe, give me an idea of what you recommended here, because now, in other words, the content of your proposal, what you came up with.
Basically, VIP, the company that we're giving the recommendations to, had 5 main issues. So I'll give you a breakdown of what the basic issues were. Basically, we had an issue to do with a recasting of an actor who was contracted with another production at the same time. We had an issue to do with a program or a market that VIP wanted to enter. We had to give them recommendations based on that. So basically, those were the kind of issues that they dealt with, and we had to then tell them how they should go about it and make sure that we gave them the most practical information, the practical know-how as to how to implement some of our recommendations to them. And then one of the main problems we also had was the ethical issues, because today it's very important, you have the likes of the King 3 report where ethics is a big issue for businesses. So we had to then go and report to them and tell them how to go about implementing ethics that will go and change the way they do their business.
What about the dynamics of the process? We see a lot of these so-called reality shows which are very very unreal on television.
They're real.
They're unreal, they're not real at all. But they seem to be about humiliation, about rejection. You know, at the end of the show, someone gets kicked out. But what does come about is often with things like Big Brother is that there are internal tensions and dynamics. Now, you working together, there must have been times when you fought each other.
Yeah.
Many times.
So give me an example.
I think you know, one was the compilation of the PowerPoint slides where we're really running short on time. And obviously, myself being a postgrad student and Panashe being in third year, we didn't quite have the time to, you know, sit down and rehash a PowerPoint over and over again. And because our process was so iterative to make sure that it was pitch perfect, it, you know, led to a bit of tension. But obviously, I think Panashe is very skilled in conflict resolution. I think she is, and you know, I think most of us have worked with each other in the past before, so we understood where our strengths and weaknesses are. I mean, we were struggling with making sure that we're within time, and we got together as a team and made sure that, you know, this not be a source of tension on the day, let's deal with it before.
Yeah, I'd just also like to add that often conflict is framed as being a bad thing. In fact, I think part of the reason we had such a great show on the day was because there was so much conflict, because from that emerges great solutions, and we actually iterate until we get the best one. So I think that was quite an asset on our team.
Simbarashe, were there times when you were desperate and you thought we're never going to do this?
When we started off, I think the first meeting that we had, Sizwe sent an email, and he kind of pointed out, like, guys, we need to meet, we need to do this. And he indicated, like, you know what, we've already, you know, got the ticket. He had already bought his ticket for, for Sri Lanka. So there was lots of focus.
Is that where you go as your prize?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I indicated that I wasn't interested in doing the competition if the intention wasn't to win. So the team got on board. So
just give me an idea. Could you just go along the table what you're studying?
So economic science honours and a computational and applied maths undergrad.
Economic science honours and pure mathematics and computer science honours.
BCom finance and management.
Okay.
Bachelor of Accounting Science.
Okay, so you're in the same sorts of areas, but not necessarily easy to work together.
I think that was one of the biggest assets that we had as a team, because all the other teams were actually doing finance and studying management accounting, whereas our team was the only one with one accounting student and had the, you know, different perspectives, and made sure, I think that's where we really came with the business sensibility, because we had the different kinds of angles with this.
Do you go on, you mentioned Sri Lanka, do you now go to compete against other teams from all over the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, 23 other teams from across the world will be one of 3 African teams, and the competition's been running for 9 years. It's never been won by an African team. We'd like to change that this year. So
when does it happen? How long do you go for? And do you do the same thing that you did here?
No. The competition runs from the 21st to the 26th of July. Basically, it's almost a Miss World of business. What we do is we have, you know, different rounds where we go and we compete against our teams, and then there's a knockout. We go to the next round, and then we have to present the same presentations that we presented here, but there's an additional challenge. We haven't been told what that is yet. We'll find out when we get there.
So that tests you, because you've got to react quickly.
Exactly, yeah.
So, lessons learned from this, if you could take something out, Simbarashe, that you would say, now, I'm further than I was before, and this is what I've learned.
I think most of my learning was from my team members. The amount of work that they put into it was incredible. On the night we were going to do the presentation, I think Panashe didn't sleep. You know, they had lots of sleepless nights, and, you know, the work that was put into it was incredible.
Who ended up leading the team, or did you all lead the team? Was it that kind of thing where you took the initiative at different times, or did you elect a leader? How did it work?
Quite right. I mean, Panashe is the team leader.
Benevolent dictator.
Right. So conflict resolution is do what I tell you.
Yeah. It was communication. That was what I brought as a team. As a woman, the men need to learn to talk to each other. That's the one thing that I think I can say I took from this, that you know, it is actually a very positive attribute as a woman to be able to bring to the table and get to the guys to talk, because usually, you know, with men it's very, you know, do this, do that, but here I think I learned to listen to people a lot more and try to work with the different personality types, and I think that ultimately helped us come together as a team. Well, guys, we have to stop there. I'd like to carry on talking. As a Witsi, I'm very proud that Witsis have done this, and good luck in Sri Lanka.
Thank you.
So we'll have to stop there. That was Monomotapa from Wits University, Panashe, Chigumadzi, Simbarashe, Nyatsambo, Khetinkosi, Dlamini, and Sizwe Nxumalo. Winners of the 2012 CIMA Global Business Challenge in South Africa, with more to come.